Yo, what's up, LL Nation? It's been a long time, man. I was out on the left coast last week celebrating my daughter and her accomplishments and had a fabulous time. Had an opportunity to prove my fandom out there on the left coast. We'll get to that in a little bit. Lefty Podcast. I'm Shaun Davis at SV2 Mics. Of course, we're featuring and brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, indeed, make sure that you drink responsibly. Coach Leak should be in the house by now. Should be setting his equipment up, so he'll be joining us shortly. But man, it's been a long time. We had a lot of time to think about what's been going on. Coach Leak has been doing his work with the Irish Players Club, doing film breakdown. So some incredible articles that I was able to write last week. And just enjoy. I want to say congratulations too, because you guys are the best, man. Congratulations to our guy on Twitter, Proverbs 31, 8-9. Congratulations on receiving your master's last week, my friend. That's huge, bro. Congratulations to you. My sister, my younger sister, she received her master's on Saturday. I wasn't able to be there because I was out with my daughter in California, but it was a tremendous weekend for me and my family and accomplishments. And then I got to celebrate Mother's Day to all of the mothers, all of you guys that got time to spend time with your mothers. I hope your Mother's Day was actually just fantastic. Hope it was actually fantastic, man. It's so funny because Mother's Day is actually the one day where everybody literally celebrates, right? Doesn't matter what creed, color, race, religion, doesn't matter. Everybody celebrates Mother's Day. And I always try to stay away from going out all the time. Yo, definitely Irish one. We'll talk about Monty Williams and Nikola Jokic in a few seconds. Congratulations to them both. DT Roll Hunter, Shaun, where did you get that suit? I need to know. I don't know what suit. I haven't worn a suit in a long time. What suit are you talking about? This had to be an old picture that you saw, my friend. Had to be an old picture. Tonight, we're going to talk about, and you guys can help us, man. Give us your 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses for this team going into fall camp. 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses for the Notre Dame football team going into fall camp. I'm going to give mine in a couple of minutes, and I might have a few surprises for you guys. Oh, DBZ, I got you, no doubt. I'm here. I'm back in Cali the first week of June, and then I'm back home, but I should be here. Absolutely. So let us know. Give us your 3 weaknesses for the squad, 3 strengths for the squad, and we'll get into that. So I'll tell you guys this story of how I proved my fandom, right? And I already told Malik, so I can go ahead and tell you guys. I kind of felt bad, but then I kind of didn't feel bad. So for those of you who don't know, I have a sophomore. My daughter's a sophomore at the University of Southern California. Yeah, I know. Yes, I allowed my daughter to go to the arch rival because she's a film theater major, and it's probably one of the best schools to go to. It came down between USC and NYU. She chose USC. So basically, she just crossed Delta Sigma Theta. Shout out to our girl DBZ in the chat. She's DST. And yeah, so they had their neophyte, everything, their introduction to the yard on Thursday, and then the luncheon on Friday. And Wednesday was just preparation for everything. I was running around, getting gifts and doing things with the missus. It was just a crazy week out in LA. So I actually intended to interview a 2024 recruit while I was out there. I had contacted the coach, and we thought it was going to happen. Emmett Mosley Jr., whose father actually played under Lou Holtz. He's out there in California. big time recruit 2024. Thought I was going to make it happen. Didn't get a chance to sit down with him. So I'm aiming for first week of June when I go back out there to hopefully sit down with him and talk to him about his recruitment and his interest in Notre Dame. So we go to this ceremony, and because it was the same day as graduation at USC, they weren't allowed to have it outside like it normally is. So they had it inside. And, it was supposed to start at 7:13. DBZ knows why that time is significant. It was supposed to start at 7:13, but they started late. It ended up starting at about 8 o'clock, right? And it was so crazy because I'm standing there and I'm enjoying myself. Like, I am enjoying myself, and I'm surrounded by the Divine Nine representatives, and everyone's there, and it's just present, past, and it's just excellence in the room, man. Just a great vibe. I'm enjoying myself, and in the midst of the ceremony, I look to my left and the door swings open, and all of a sudden I see USC football hoodies walking in. And I immediately, this is funny because I had Malik dying laughing the next morning. I immediately got tight, yo. Like, for some reason, I immediately got angry. Like, literally, I am there for one of the greatest moments as a father and one of the greatest moments in my daughter's life. And I see USC football players walk in, as they should, right? Because their friends are there going through this same ceremony and being presented to the yard. Like, they're friends with my daughter. And I get tight. And my wife literally notices it. And she is like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, I do. Give me a second. My fandom just jumped up in me. Like, I am irritated because I just saw a group of USC football players walk in the room. I know I shouldn't be feeling like this. I know this is not the place for that. But right now, I'm tight. I'm tight. Like, I want to go fight. Like, right now, I'm irritated. Tim, man, I'm sorry, man. It was the most immature teenage thing ever. Like, I am tight. There's like 5 of them, right? And I'm like, these dudes. It lasted for a couple of minutes, and I got myself together. And it was cool. But that shows you guys the depth of my fandom. That immediately on sight, when I saw USC football players, my Notre Dame fandom immediately came to the top. Immediately. And I had to control myself. I had to control myself. And I said, yo, I got to relax, man. I've got to relax. I'm here to celebrate my daughter. We're going to have fun with this. And that's what I did. I got myself together. My wife was standing next to me, shaking her head. It was like, this doesn't make any darn sense. Like, you should be ashamed. And, it was cool. She actually introduced me to a couple of them, and they were good guys, man. But, you know what it is. You know what it is. Come November, you know what it is. K-Mac. I was literally seeing red, dude. Literally. Literally. I saw the red come through the door, and I'm like, what? It's like, I almost felt like, what are they doing here? Which is crazy because this is their campus. These are their friends and fellow students. I'm the outsider, but yet and still I'm trying to plant my flag in California soil. It was crazy. Oh, Anthony, I already know it. I already told Malik, yo, man, look, I'm sorry, I'm coming. Like, I wear all of my Notre Dame fandom on my sleeve. Oh, man. Yeah, Irish one. The flesh definitely rose up. It definitely rose up. And DBZ, I saw your question. She's 6. 6. Matter of fact, BBZ, I have the video. So I'll send you like some videos. I'll send them to you in your inbox on Twitter. I have some videos of the event. I'll send those to you so you can enjoy that. And shout out to you and the rest of the DST Nation, man. First class, man. Everything was first class. Everything. And wouldn't have missed it for the world. Would not have missed it for the world. Dude, look, if that white horse had come in, I probably would have tripped him, grabbed the flagpole, tripped him, and caused the rider to fall off. Everything. Man, I was seeing red, dude. Like, I was heated. So let's get to it, right? Strengths and weaknesses. Anthony Solomon, there you go. Your strengths: running back, defensive line, offensive line. Weaknesses: special teams, fair catch you, punter and kicker, safety other than Joseph, corner other than Cam. That right there is very interesting. Congratulations also on your daughter getting us a degree certification from Notre Dame next May. Definitely congratulations. So I want to go back and play. Let's talk about it, right? Because we always love our video here. And I want to go back to the first. I want to start with the weaknesses. And the first weakness I want to start with is this right here. I'm going to play this video of Marcus Freeman from earlier this spring, and then I'll explain why I think this plays into one of my weaknesses for this team.
Ultimately, the selling point is, do you want to be at Notre Dame? Do you believe in what Notre Dame can do for your future, right? And we're not looking to match. We're not looking to do anything. We're trying to say, hey, here's the position. Do you believe this is what's best for your career? I mean, I had to fight guys for our offensive coordinator, right? Obviously, I know it's out there that there's a lot of teams and a certain team that wanted him a couple weeks ago. And so ultimately my conversation with Tommy Rees is, do you want to be here, man? Is this where you want to be? And do you see yourself getting to your ultimate goals from Notre Dame? And obviously we were able to fight off a lot of people to get him. Same thing with Dylan McCullough. Same thing with Al Golden. It's when you're at Notre Dame, people want your guys. It's a part of it. When you have success, people want a part of that staff. And so ultimately, my job is to continue to lift as I rise, right? I'm a head coach at Notre Dame. It doesn't get any better than that. But I think we have a staff full of people that have goals and aspirations. And my job as head coach is to try to continue to do what's best for our players here, but also help these coaches, individuals, get to their ultimate goal.
That clip right there is a famous clip. When the news broke about the University of Miami coming after Tommy Rees, and Marcus Freeman was talking about, the conversation he had to have with Tommy Rees, like, do you want to be here? Because, and he went on further in that same press conference to say, because this is it. Like, yo, either you want to be here or you don't. Like, we need to shut this down. All of these rumors, whether it's the Rams, whether it's Miami, whether it's true, whether it's false, all this smoke, yo, let's put it out. Let's get to work. Let's build this team. Unfortunately, I think a lot of other teams started to use what was happening around Notre Dame, and he tried to use it to negatively recruit against Notre Dame, especially with the offensive players. And I think Notre Dame has had to kind of like push back on that recently. Chad Bowden came out today and was very, very upfront, saying that the 2023 class is going to win a national championship at Notre Dame. I believe that as well. I believe they will finish as the number one recruiting class in the nation. I believe they will be the class that gets Notre Dame over the hump and brings a championship to Notre Dame. But he was very open, saying there's one very important piece missing, and he is the only quarterback that we want, and we are all in on him. We are all in on him. And I thought that was a very bold statement for Chad Bowden to make. It was the type of statement that needed to be made, in my opinion. With the way everything is going with that particular recruit, the influence of his parent, mixed up with his feelings about the schools that are recruiting him, the recent visit out to Eugene, and the words that came out of his mouth about the visit, the Instagram post last week or big announcement that was, I guess, the revealing of his top three with the 3 teams left on his IG post. All of that, Chad Bolden and Notre Dame, who feel like they've been the leader the whole time, they put it out there and they put him on notice. They've been in the background and they've allowed him to pretty much do what he wants to do. Go on visits, do whatever you want to do. Go ahead. Take care of that. And they've stayed in the background. But now they step out confidently. And they let him know this class is going to win a national championship. So either you can come win a national championship or you can go be 9-3, 8-4 in the Pac-12. It's up to you. Or you can choose to lose to Alabama every year down in Baton Rouge. Those are your choices. Come win a national championship, lose to Alabama every year, or go be 9-3, 8-4 in the Pac-12. That's it. That's it. And they put them on notice.
Ultimately, the selling point is, do you want to be at Notre Dame?
That's it. Thank you, Marcus Freeman. Thank you. Say it again.
Ultimately, the selling point is, do you want to be at Notre Dame?
That's it. That's it. Sick and tired of all of this playing around with Notre Dame. It's a different Notre Dame. This is no longer the Notre Dame under Brian Kelly. People can use us like puppets, use our name, use our brand. No, we're not playing that. Either you want us or you don't. Like Marcus Freeman says. Either you want to be here or you don't. Simple and plain. Either you want to be at Notre Dame or you don't. That's why I played that clip first. Because I thought it led right into the weakness. We have to be honest. The coaching staff is a weakness because we won't know what we have until the bullets are live. Just my personal opinion. Recruiting-wise, stellar. A+. Development-wise, in spring practice, A1, stellar. When the bullets go live, we have no clue. We just don't know. We don't. We don't know what adjustments are going to be made. Can they make adjustments on the fly? We don't know. And until we find out, that's my third weakness. It's my third weakness, and it's one of my surprises. I thought long and hard, and I had to be honest with myself. Like, yo, it's the first time head coach. Great position, great roster. But the truth of the matter is, I would love for him to have 1 or 2 games to get his feet wet before he walked into Columbus. Unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not the case. So he's going to he must be a quick learner as a head coach. Has to be a quick learner as a head coach. The Tommy Rees situation, as I said, in my opinion, teams are still using his situation, whether or not he wants to be there. Will he be there? Especially with quarterbacks, wide receivers. You damn well better believe other schools are using that. Tommy Rees isn't going to be there next year. He's not going to be there by the time you graduate. So for me, that's one of the things that came out that eventually crept up and was a big issue and has become a big issue. Not for Notre Dame, an issue in recruiting because it's something that other schools are definitely using to try and get an advantage. So we can definitely be confident in certain coaches and what they can do. I think everybody's confident in what Harry Hiestand is going to do with the offensive line. Everybody feels great about Al Golden, right? What he brings to the table, what Marcus Freeman says he brings to the table. And if you forgot, This is what Marcus Freeman had to say about Al Golden, just in case you forgot.
I'll start with me. I mean, he's been great. That's one of the main reasons we hired him, because not the main reason, but a big reason why we hired him was because he's been in my shoes, and he's been a guy that sees things from a head coach point of view. There's been many times he's come into my office and said, hey, just something to be aware of, something, hey, that I did when I was head coach. And it's something that it's been very beneficial for me being a first-time head coach. On the team, he's been great. You know, I sit in a lot of his defensive unit meetings, and just to learn, just to hear him teach, and he's a great motivator. He's super intelligent. Our players, I'll tell you, they've learned a lot of ball. And, it's funny, we were having practice the other day, and Coach Reese was like, hey, are our linebackers, like, really intelligent? It's like this everywhere? And I'm like, no, they just are learning things that I didn't teach them last year. They're learning situations, they're learning alignments and stuff. I mean, Coach Golden is extremely intelligent, has coached a lot of ball, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah. Marcus Freeman was elated to get the opportunity and the networking that took place for Al Golden to end up being a defensive coordinator, and his familiarity with the university, his love for the university, and as he expressed, his love for Marcus Freeman, and Marcus Freeman being one of the major reasons why he left the NFL to come to the college ranks to be the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. So that, for me, guys, is one of my weaknesses at number 3. The number 2 ranked weakness on my list, without question, is the backup quarterback. I would not have said this about a month ago, but after watching that blue and gold game and a couple of practices, I can honestly say if something happens to Tyler Buchner, who I feel without question is the starting quarterback for this team, even if they won't say it today, when they start fall camp, Tyler will be the starting quarterback, and he will come out of that fall camp the starting quarterback. That's my opinion. But with all of that being said, I'm scared to death if Tyler gets hurt. And that's a great possibility. The way he runs the ball, as hard as he runs, he's already pulled a hamstring. Yes, I'm scared to death, especially in that first game if he has to go out for anything. Look, that backup quarterback, and I think we said this the last time, I fully believe by week 4 or 5, halfway through the season, when they take that break and they get that bye week, I fully expect Steve Angeli to be ready and prepared to go in a game if need be. Wouldn't have a problem with him being the backup from what I've seen. But man, oh man, I'm not looking forward to that. So we need to keep Tyler Buchner upright. If he wants to run the ball to escape the pocket in the passing game, and let's keep the RPO runs to a minimum of 4 to 5 a game. 4 to 5 a game. We have enough running backs, and the offensive line is good enough for us to get the job done without putting our quarterback in danger. Chadwick Brown, I agree. I think Angeli will be a decent number 2. Absolutely. Even as a freshman, I think he'll be a very good number 2. Very good number 2. So that's number 2 on my list of weaknesses. Number 2 ranked weakness is definitely, for me, the backup quarterback. And these things might surprise some people because I'm not going for the low-hanging fruit. And I'm really going for things, trying to forecast based upon the things that I've seen in practices and what I'm hearing and what I saw in the blue and gold game. The blue and gold game isn't everything. We know it's a high-level practice, dress rehearsal, not much to it, but there's still some minor things that you can see. And there's some things I saw, some unsettling things that I saw at the backup position that just made me a little bit uncomfortable. I would like to feel a little bit more comfortable with that number 2 position at the quarterback, in the quarterback room than I am right now. I don't feel too comfortable. I would like to feel much better. So that's the number 2 ranked thing on my weaknesses. Number one, weaknesses. And this is only because I just don't know. The number one weakness. Someone said it in the chat. Who is the number 2 defensive back? Who? We've been told that they're extremely happy with Clarence Lewis in the spring he's had. He showed great leadership. I feel comfortable with Tariq in the slot. I feel comfortable with Cam on the other side. But who in the world is that number 2? And I battled that. Let me tell you what I battled with. I battled with that number 2 DB, but I also battled with the wide receivers. I really did, because in that wide receiver room, there's so much uncertainty. So much uncertainty. But then I realized, like, the promise of Lorenzo, Braden Lindsey just being Braden Lindsey, just be the deep threat. Avery Davis, if healthy, Avery Davis is going to be Avery Davis in the slot. And you really have to count Michael Mayer as a wide receiver. I mean, let's be honest. He really is. We know he's a tight end, but he's a pass catcher. He is a wide receiver, and he's probably the best wide receiver on the roster right now. Malik has this position. As soon as he jumps in, he has this position at one of his strengths, and he is in love with one of the young wide receivers who he believes will have a breakout season, and it's not Lorenzo Styles. So I can't wait for him to tell you guys about that. But it should be very interesting. It should be very interesting to see, why he feels like this young man is going to break out. But yep, number 1 for me, that number 2 corner, obviously Cam. I'm very interested. I want to see, can Mickens become the starter? Coming off a solid spring. Can he go into fall camp, solidify his work in the spring, and usurp Clarence Lewis and become the number 2 defensive back and a starter as a true freshman? Can he do it? We see things like that all the time in the SEC. Alabama constantly has freshmen come in, get playing time at the number 2 defensive back position. So it's very possible. It's very possible. It's very possible. And it's very possible that one of the redshirt freshmen can overtake C. Lou as well. C. Lou is going to have to ball out. That's the feeling I get. That if C. Lou walks into Columbus and he's the number 2 defensive back on the field, he has put in the requisite work to earn that spot and earn that slot. And I feel confident about that. I do. I trust Mike Mickens. I trust Chris O'Leary, and I trust Marcus Freeman to properly evaluate things. And if C. Lou is indeed the starter, for me, there's nothing much I can say after that. I'm just going to keep it a buck. There's nothing much I can say to that. But Omar, you might be right. One of the red shirt freshmen might get that. Now let's go to my top three strengths for this team going into fall camp. Coming in at number 3, Brandon Joseph. The dude, look, for those of you that have seen Young Irish Breakdown, I said it. It was controversial when I said it, but I stand by it. He is not better. And by no means am I saying that he is better than Kyle Hamilton. But Brandon Joseph brings that unit together and raises the level of play of everybody in that unit much better than Kyle Hamilton did. And that might be hard for some people to understand. But Brandon Joseph, the playmaker he is, he's a first-round talent. What he brings on the back end, and he's almost like a mixture of Kyle Hamilton and Alohi Gilman. He really is. He's infectious. You talk to the people, you come to understand how much he can really mean to that defense on the back end and how he can make everyone around him better. So for number 3, that's a strength to me, to have a guy come in after you lose Kyle Hamilton to the draft, to have a guy come in, step into his spot, and raise the level of the guys around him that have been questionable. Let's be honest. The guys around him have been questionable with their play. They've been questionable with their play on film the last 2 years. But their springs have been much better. Our boy, Houston Griffith, on a screen pass touchdown to Dorian Price, he made a business decision. He got out of the way of the offensive lineman. In the spring game, I'm not mad at that. I don't feel like he would do that game 1 up in Columbus. I feel like he tries to make the tackle. But in the spring game, really nothing to prove. Hey, let the freshman have his highlight. Let him have his day. Live to play another day. No problem with that. That's number 3. Number 2, surprisingly, the front 7 defensively is my number 2 strength. Let me tell you something. Junior Tuamaka, Maris Leafau, Jordan Botello, the young freshman linebackers, the infusion of playmaking and speed and aggression, along with the depth and size. We get the grad transfer coming in, 6'2", 300. You add him to Howard Cross, Jacob Lacey, who are your speed guys, your gap guys to get in the backfield. You throw in the young size of a Tyson Ford, who is coming along and got better, so much better from his first snap in the spring to what we saw eventually. Jason Onye, Riley Mills, Ernstberger, like all of these big guys, just depth and different combinations along the front. Al Golden working directly with the pass rushers, working directly with Isaiah Foskey on setting the edge and not just being a one-trick pony at the defensive end. You combine all of that. You got Jason Adamiola that didn't even play in the spring, just chomping at the bit the whole time, just talking to the offense, trash talking at every practice, trying to raise the level of his defense. This front 7 could finally hold, and I really hope they do. I really hope that they can hold rushing attacks under 100 yards this year. I really hope they can. And I really think they have the potential, the talent, and the promise to keep rushing attacks right around 90 yards per game. I'm going to go ahead and set that. 90 yards per game. 90 yards per game. Strength number 2. The number 2 ranked strength is the front 7 of Notre Dame's defense. Number 1, you already know. We might as well combine it. Harry, O-line, Alt, Fisher, Patterson. Hey, just put whoever you want to put at the guards. They're being coached by Harry, so they're going to be productive. Harry Heastan and the offensive lineman for Notre Dame. Number 1 strength. Number 1 strength. Now, I already know, I left the running back room out. I already know that. But like I said, I'm not going for the low-hanging fruit. I'm going for some things that might be a little bit off the road. You know what I'm saying? Like you're on the expressway, you're on the blacktop, and all of a sudden it's a little dirt road, a little detour that might be a quicker route in town. I'm taking that road. I'm going to take that road tonight. I don't take the easy road. No. I'm taking the dirt road. I'm going to go and grab hold of some things that I'm forecasting, saying these might be some surprises. The front 7, surprise. Brandon Joseph's importance and how he elevates everyone else, not expected, surprise. And number 1 should be no surprise to anyone, right? It's the reason why the running backs are going to have plenty of room. As Harry Heastan on that offensive line. I think they're going to open up alleys. I think they're going to push Ohio State around. Will we be able to shut them down enough to give ourselves a chance to give Tyler Buckner an opportunity to make plays in the fourth quarter? We're going to see. We're going to see. But Marcus Freeman was sitting up there on that set of College Football Live prior to the NFL draft, looking real confident. With that jerk sitting there laughing. That jerk from Michigan that happens to be on the show, sitting there laughing. Yeah, go ahead. Marcus Freeman was sitting there like, okay.
They all have the dream to be here, right? Be on the red carpet, get their name called by Commissioner Goodell, and you have to be able to show them in recruiting, hey, this is a reality. You can achieve that status here at Notre Dame or Ohio State, anywhere you go. And so I believe this is so powerful in recruiting to show them, hey, in 3-4 years, this is what your future's going to be.
Well, you guys have certainly put together great talent. Looking forward to seeing your teams go at it in the opening weekend, first full opening weekend of college.
What was the line again?
Whatever it is, make it bigger.
They have said 13 and a half.
Oh,
Make it 14.
It'll go up by this game time. It'll go up. Brian, that's the price of all your.
Clown. Get your goofy self out of here, G. Oh, I'm sorry. My Chicago just came out. Let me get back to being professional. Shaun Davis. Let me reel it back in. Just like I reeled my fandom back in out in California. I'm sorry. He's a clown. They tried to embarrass and make fun of and mock Marcus Freeman. And he came out looking like a G. I don't care. Raise it. Keep raising it. 13 and a half, 14, 14 and a half, 15. Make it like an auction. Keep going. Keep raising it. Y'all got to step on that field and play. That has nothing to do with what's going on in that field. Nothing. We'll decide all of that on the field. So you can raise the number to as high as you want to. Over, under, raise it. Line, raise it. At the end of the day, snap the ball. Let's go. Yeah, I agree. I agree, bro. Sounding like a hyena. Straight off Lion King. Goofy, man. Goofy. Logan Lawrence, we missed you too, man. We missed you too. Yeah, Tim, it came out for a second. It came out for a second. Truman Dumel, what's up, my brother? Glad to see you, man. Your strengths, running backs, defense, O-line, weaknesses, wide receiver room, tight end after Mayer. Interesting. Special teams. You know what special teams? Look, the kickers that participate in the blue and gold game, you know, they have some kickers coming in. I actually believe in Group. I really do. He's a confident kid. He's a streaky kid, but he's a confident kid with a big leg. I think he's going to be clutch. I think he's really going to be clutch in several situations. I really do. Oh, man. not Bishop Don Juan. Jay Chillin. That's wild. Anthony Solomon, Ryan Day looked like he didn't appreciate that comment. He knows. Ryan Day knows they have to play the game. And then Ryan Day thinks, dude, that's an Ohio State guy looking at a Michigan guy. Now, he knows Desmond is a clown. Desmond is like holding on to one win over Ohio State in like the last decade and holding on to it like he knows. Like this isn't going to happen in a long time. I'm going to squeeze every bit of juice out of this orange. And that's what he's doing. That's why Ryan Day and Marcus Freeman were both looking at him like, you're a clown. You're a clown, dude. Chadwick Brown said, let him sleep on us. Absolutely. Sleep on us. Sleep on us. I'm all for it. Lefty Podcast. Now, I want to play you this clip of Deion Sanders. We played him once before, but he was on with our guy, Coach Carl Reed. And I want to get to the NIL just a little bit because new legislation did come down with tampering in the portal closed, And then NIL, you got legislation in other states where they're allowing schools to be directly in contact with the deals and making deals for athletes. Very interesting. But this was Deion Sanders giving his thoughts on the NIL and what's happening right now with Coach Carl Reed.
So yesterday, news started breaking. There was rumors that Pitt's receiver Jordan Addison was going to leave Pitt, and he possibly have a $2 million NIL deal coming from USC or other schools. What is your take on NIL right now and the transfer portal and how it's affecting these type of decisions?
I like it. I love for these guys to be able to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. I love that. But it's becoming free agency, real free agency. And if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to compete. It's just another way to me to keep the schools that don't have the proper funding down. We can't, first of all, I'm not giving a kid nothing like that. No, I want you to focus on the NFL, not the NIL. You ball out and you're prepared yourself for the NFL. If you get comfortable with, you already got a meal and you got that coming, I mean, come on. How hungry are you going to be to go out there and work and go get it? And we can't lose the fact that these are young men that they got to stay hungry. They got to stay interested. They got to stay invested. And we're not getting to bidding wars. We don't get down like that, man. And when a kid say, Coach, how about that paper? Click.
But Coach Fine, let me ask you this. If a kid is getting offered $2 million, does he have to look at it? Or should he be looking more at who can prepare him to be a pro? You've been a top level.
A little bit of both. First of all, if he's been offered $2 million, that means they got it. That's not the kid's fault. That's not his fault whatsoever. But he should be really looking at, where is this going to take me? Okay, is the quarterback there? Is the system there? Is the environment there? Am I going to be happy? Because you could be rich and very unhappy. I've been that before. So he got to understand, that young man has to understand the complexity of the whole package. And it cannot get to bidding wars for young kids that really ain't done nothing yet. They really ain't done nothing yet.
Yo, let me tell you something. This is the perfect link and nexus to what I talked about with Notre Dame, that important quarterback, and what Chad Bowden said. Look here, man. You can talk all that money. You can talk what this school is giving you, what that school is giving you. System, opportunity, chance to win a championship. And let's be real. Based upon the 3 schools that you put on your IG post, that school out west is going to be running second, going 9-3 for like the next 10 years. Let's keep it real. That team down south is already on a losing streak when it comes to the Crimson Tide, and it ain't changing. I haven't seen a new head coach down there in the boot win an important game against a good team in over 10 years. And all of you that are listening and watching me right now, you haven't seen him do it either. And nothing's going to change against better competition. It's in his DNA. So guess what? You can go ahead. You can be drawn by all the fancy trinkets, all the money, NIL, NFT, whatever they show you. Shoes, Jordans, sneakers, uniforms, swooshes, whatever. As Deion Sanders said, there's only one right decision based upon fit and winning is what you ultimately want. You ultimately want to do. You want to win. You know where to go. And I'm so happy that Notre Dame came out of the background instead of being just confident. Yo, step out there. Let it be known who Notre Dame is, yo. Let it be known. Oh, you're the number one dude. You the only dude we want. You're the only quarterback we're looking at. But you better believe this 2023 class is that class. It's the class that's going to set the new standard at Notre Dame. Either you want to be in or you can be out. but we're going to do it with or without you. Period. Let's go. Let's go. When I saw that, I said, that's what I'm talking about. Stop playing defense. Stop playing defense with this recruitment, man. Be on the attack, because everyone else has been on the attack with us. Thank you for the super chat. My God, Tim Go Irish. It did. My Chi-Town did come out, man. He's a goofy, man. Goofy Mark. I'm sorry. That was Chi-Town again. I'm sorry. He's a goof, man. He is a goof. True enough. Ryan Barnes is a great candidate to break out. Absolutely. The depth in the defensive backfield is much better and is getting better. And, I expect it to be even stronger based upon what they have in the 2023 class already. And they're still recruiting the 2023 class strongly, even right now. D. Beasy, I'm glad you made this point. I do not believe that most of these guys even think about taxes. Federal taxes, state taxes, and then you have to pay the guys or the individuals that are making the deals. So that $2 million deal that Nico Iamaleava got at Tennessee, at the end of the day, what are we really talking about? 600K? It's more than zero. But it's like, let's be honest. He's not getting $2 million cash. No. And I hope these kids don't make it to the next level already in trouble with the IRS, like D. Beasy said. That's a great point, D. Beasy. Great point. Sid Irish, I agree. Very odd. But you have to understand, very tight with a certain individual that we've interviewed here twice. And probably took that trip to say, let's go check this out together. Because they were there together that weekend. That's kind of how we both look at it. Myself and Malik, we both kind of, yeah. Jay Chillin, I love how ND is confident in their approach and isn't scared of all the other blue blood top caliber programs coming after our recruits. We're comfortable within our culture and our program. Yeah, look, man, talking to the month of May, look, I'm just going to step out on a limb. I truly believe the month of May is going to be very fruitful for commitments for Notre Dame. I think July 4th right now could bring a double treat for Notre Dame. That's just my personal feeling, talking to both guys and where they sit right now. I think a double treat on the 4th of July could be coming for Notre Dame. Work still has to be done to seal the deal, but I'm telling you now, by the time we hit July and head into fall camp, Notre Dame might be so far out in front as far as recruiting. It might be a done deal, and you have kids like Jagasaw, who's waiting until August, who could come into the fold. Some more wide receivers could come into the fold even after July the 4th. Phew. Marcus Freeman is doing his thing. He is absolutely doing his thing. If the NCAA stands their ground in NIL, then I think Dante will start to lose interest in Baton Rouge. Look, I blame the NCAA for all of this mess because they acted like a spoiled brat when all of these things were changing. They saw the writing on the wall 3 to 4 years ago with NIL. They knew it was coming. and they knew that they were going to have to share revenue. And instead of setting up a system where everyone could profit together, they walked out the room and threw a tantrum like a spoiled brat and said, "The heck with it. We don't want anything to do with it." And then all of a sudden things started to go haywire, and they're just sitting back watching it, waiting for someone to beg them to come back and do something about it. When it's their mess from the beginning. They were the original thieves in this whole thing. They were the ones that wanted to steal the revenue and keep all the profits. And by doing that, they created this situation. Now that things have changed, they don't want to deal with it. That's on them. They have no one to blame except for themselves. And so with all of that being said, them coming up in the end, trying to give this legislation, trying to seem like heroes, nah, you're not fooling anybody. You can miss me with that. NCAA, they're not heroes. It's a last-ditch effort to solve something that they created out of their ignorance and their greed. So, look, the legislation is going to change a lot of things. There are going to be a lot of upset juniors and seniors in high school that had dollar signs in their eyes over the next 18 months. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to play out. I don't think it's going to play out the way they. Let's see. Jay Chillin, SV, can you give us any details on the Chi-Town Catholic School D lineman from the 24 class who's a top prospect for next year? I absolutely can. It's my guy, Justin Scott. It's my dude. I'm not going to take credit, but I'll tell you how things went down. I knew about this kid. I established a relationship with this kid. I wrote an article about this kid that's up on Irish Breakdown right now. He jumped on the scene. We were already talking. Then I saw he jumped to a 5-star on 3. When he jumped to a 5-star on 3, because we were conversing, and he was telling me how much he loved Notre Dame and how he was interested, but they hadn't reached out to him. But that was kind of like in the midst. He had already been to Notre Dame in October for a game with his mother. Loved Notre Dame. Film was great. Grades on a problem. He goes to a great Catholic school, St. Ignatius, right there on Roosevelt Road, Chicago. And, we were just conversing. I kept telling him, just wait, be patient. Be patient. You'll hear from Notre Dame. So I actually reached out because I know Brian talks to certain people in the office, Brian Driscoll. And I flat out asked Brian Driscoll, like, yo, is this guy on their list? And at the time, we really didn't hear anything back. And recently, the offer came. And when I saw the offer, reached back out to him, said, congratulations. I told you to be patient. It was coming. The kid is 6'6", 310 pounds and has never lifted weights. Never lifted weights. Literally, this is his first off season hitting the weights. 6'6", 310. Looking like Jordan Davis on film. He's a baby. I flat out asked him, I said, man, watching you on film, you look like you don't really even know how good you can be. And he was like, yeah, I'm really raw. He was like, man, I'm just really raw, but I got speed, size, and I always choose the right gap to be able to make the right plays. So you can imagine once he gets stronger and once he really starts to understand the game, he's right in your backyard. You have to get him. You have to get him. He's right in your backyard. And the guy leading the charge for him, Maurice Lightfoot, the linebacker edge rusher from Chicago Kenwood, Malik Elzy, Chicago Simeon, the guy leading the charge for all of these guys in the Chicagoland area is not just the defensive line coach, not just the wide receiver coach. Tommy Rees is recruiting all of the Chicago guys. Like Tommy Rees he's made it his business to plant the flag in Chicago, plant the Notre Dame flag in Chicago. He's made it his business. He is determined to get every top player out of the Chicago area for the next 3 to 4 years. He's determined. He's determined. He's ready to start that trend. And it's like, when I talked to Justin Scott, it's like, man, what coaches have you talked to? Tommy Rees and Al Washington. Like, Tommy Rees and Al Washington? That's who's been talking to you? It's like, yeah. Wow. But Tommy Rees is the Chicago guy. He is the guy from the Chicago area. He is the guy that led Malik Elsie's recruitment that wanted him when Dale Alexander didn't want him. Tommy Rees was the one saying, I like this kid. I want this kid. That's the relationship he built. You got Justin Scott. You got the Lightfoot kid who also said, yo, Tommy Rees was talking to me. Tommy Rees is the one that offered me. And he's an outside linebacker rush guy from Chicago Kenwood. So Justin Scott is unbelievable. 4-star on Rivals, 4-star on 24/7, and a 5-star on On3. Number 1 player in the state. Number 6 defensive tackle in the country. He's a beast. He's in your backyard. He wants Notre Dame. He's been waiting for the offer. Loves the relationship. Loves the proximity. Hopefully, just like Brandon Swain Davis, they can lock him up early. They can lock him up. He'll be up to Notre Dame this June. Put some other tidbits on the message board over at Irish Breakdown. Also, there were some tidbits in the article. Great kid, ready to roll, loves Notre Dame. He's going to get up to the campus in June, not for a camp, but just for a regular visit. And if Notre Dame knocks it out of the park, there's a great chance that the young man flat out commits. Just flat out. Flat out. Ashley Hill. What's up, my dude? T. Reeves, because he might not be at Notre Dame. He looks for a suspect. Come on, man. I'm actually, I know it was one of my weaknesses, but I'm holding out hope that Tommy is going to take that next step as a play caller this year. I really am. I really am. Well, Notre Dame, Sid Irish, you're right. Notre Dame has a huge Texas base in the 90s, and they're trying to reestablish that. They're definitely trying to reestablish that. But you notice they're really trying to establish and plant a flag in the DMV area and in that mid-Atlantic area. Really check out what they're doing, right? Devin Houston, Jason Moore, the kids they just offered in 24. You go up to the Boston area, Zenter, the 24 kid at the same high school, a defensive lineman that they just snatched from Boston College in a 23 class, right? They have him. And then they have an offensive lineman that's his teammate in the 24 class. That's like a top 50 kid that they're high on, and he's high on them, that they offered on March 17th. So they're really trying to invade that area that was purely Boston College, Penn State, New Jersey's a place that Nick Saban and Alabama have snuck up and got a couple of 5-star, 4-star guys to come down to Alabama. So that area is very fertile when it comes to top talent, and Notre Dame wants to be in the fight, and they're trying to plant their flag in that area at some of the top programs and some of the top schools. So, yeah, David Swain, if you guys can check out the interview I did with him, it's on YouTube. Great kid, great interview. We talked about the Rivals camp, talked about him winning the Golden Ball the very next day at the Rivals camp after leaving the blue and gold game where he committed to Notre Dame. Great kid, great family, great story. Had fun talking to him. And he also tweeted it out yesterday and said, thank you for the interview. He's a fantastic kid. Fantastic kid. Chadwick, yes, we're definitely stealing recruits out of Texas's backyard. But you have to give Texas credit, because if they get Arch Manning, and from all reports, they're in like his top 3, that's going to be a huge get. A huge get for Sark down there in Texas. Al Golden, definitely, yeah. Al Golden spent time on the East Coast, and then he came back and went to all the big time programs in the state of Indiana when he got back from that trip out to the East Coast. All the coaches have been putting in work. You know, all the coaches have been putting in work. You saw them down south. You saw Chancey Stuckey down in Georgia, his stomping grounds. You saw Tyler Williams, wide receiver from Lakeland. Notre Dame's in his top 10 that he released, and he is a fantastic wide receiver. Absolutely fantastic from the class of 2023. So Notre Dame is building and basically saying, here it is. You know who that guy is. He knows who he is. Here it is. Here's the class. You can come win, or you can go somewhere else. You can either watch Tyler Buckner win with your class, or you can come be the man at the helm. I love it. I absolutely love what Notre Dame is doing, stepping out of the shadows and being confident about what they're trying to do. So, as always, shout out to everyone that supported us. Hit the share button, hit the like button. Let everybody know, Lefty Podcast. We spent a different 2 weeks from today. Is the release of the website with the pre-sales for the t-shirts and the hats. Put it on the calendar. 2 weeks from today. We cannot wait to show you guys. We have a Buckeye special. A special t-shirt made strictly for the first game. It'll be limited supply, but we hope you guys love it. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing. Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you. You don't? No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty story today. You saw me getting my little drums in right there. Yo, petty story today. Look, I have to go to Dallas, man. Look, let me tell you something, man. Shaun loves the kids. I love the kids. I don't know how old the young man was. So my issue is really not with the young man. I'm waiting for this to be confirmed, but I fully believe that the young man that was in Dallas in the Luka Doncic garb was there with his mother, his aunt, and a younger kid that was with the group. If that, regardless of who she was, if she allowed that young man without repercussions to put his hands on two women and say the things that are being reported, shame on her. My mother would have smacked the back of my head so quick. That's just mad petty. Like, that could have been self-corrected. You understand what I'm saying? Catherine Davis, that's my mother. Catherine Davis would have smacked me in the back of my head, asked me what the hell is wrong with me, would have told me to apologize, to Chris Paul, and it would have been handled. And then she would have said, let's go. You're not going to watch the rest of this game. Let's go. No, man. I don't know. It's a difficult situation. Chris Paul seeing red, really not thinking about how young or old the kid was. And, he says, look, I'll see you later. It's like, Chris, what are you going to do to this kid, man? You like, run up on this kid for what? For what? NBA. Y'all mad petty, bro. For giving Nikola Jokic another MVP. Has nothing to do with numbers, advanced stats. If you guys watched, and this is a true story, because I heard this story before it was actually showed on Winning Time, the HBO show about the Lakers. And last night's episode, the Lakers won Game 6. against the Philadelphia 76ers when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was hurt in Game 5 and couldn't play. And Magic came out with one of the greatest games of his career as a rookie to clinch the title. And in doing so, David Stern walks up to him in the hallway and says, you know, the MVP vote has already taken place, and they voted Kareem MVP, but he's not here. And Magic Johnson says to him, well, man, you can get him on the phone. He said, yeah, we could. Or we could use this as a moment for the league. Narratives, people. Narratives. All of a sudden, after the All-Star break, because, you know, everything was boring. Heck, All-Star break, the Bulls were the number 1 seed in the East. The Chicago Bulls. LeBron and the Lakers were done. Done. So what was the narrative that the NBA grabbed? Nikola Jokic. Look at what he's doing. Look at his advanced stats. He's closing the gap on Joel Embiid, right? They were the laughing stock of the league before the Ben Simmons situation, because of the Ben Simmons situation. Laughing stock. Expected and predicted to be bottom 4 in the playoffs. Bottom 4. And Joel Embiid had them top seed or near the top of the East for the majority of the season. First big man to lead the league in scoring since Shaquille O'Neal. And they just took it from him. For what? You took it from him for what? I can't tell you who might be the next U.S.-born MVP. We can take a vote. Who's going to, because I can guarantee you Luka Doncic is going to be the MVP next year. You can book it. You can book it. They can't give it to Jokic anymore. Can't give it to Jokic anymore. Luka's going to have like the next 2. You can book it. You can book it. What they did to Joel Embiid, man. How this dude was literally the clear-cut winner at the All-Star break, according to everybody. The clear-cut winner. And all of a sudden, he gets run down like the favorites in the Kentucky Derby this weekend that got ran down by Strike Rich or Rich Strike or whatever his name is, or whatever the horse's name is. Come on, man. It's ridiculous. How do you run him down when he's running the same pace that he's been running all season? He's leading the league in scoring. The only person that had a chance to catch him was LeBron, and he held him off. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. We'll be back tomorrow. Another great episode. Coach Leak said he'll be back. He apologizes. It's crazy. You guys have a great evening. As always, spin it different.